It's great to be with everybody. It's been an eventful offseason already. You know, I've been reflecting it's been 11 months since I said yes and found out I was going to be the next head coach. And I think my goal was from the beginning to think about October of 22 to feel like we're in a position to pursue a national championship. And I think we're on our way there. We still got some work to do, but I think the very first and foremost, the thing that I love about the position we're in is our roster. You know, getting a guy like Jeremy Roach back is really important. You know, he's going to be a leader for us. What he did in the NCAA tournament, Joey Baker, Jalen Blakes. You know, I think the experience of those guys just from this past year will be really important for us. And then I think about the group we have coming in. You know, the 6 incoming freshmen, and love the versatility, love what they're all about. They're all winners. They're going to add great value. And then the 2 new additions, which I'm proud to announce, with Ryan Young, he's committed and signed to be a grad transfer, and his playing the Big Ten for 4 years, three really on the court. He brings great experience, great value there, along with Cale Catchings, and Cale is again brings that toughness, that tenacity of, Carrawell is excited. We got another St. Louis guy. So, he claims every guy we get from St. Louis brings that. But those 2 guys will add a lot of value in our program. And, we're not quite done. Trevor's, of course, we're supporting him going through the process of testing. And, look, any NBA team will be really lucky to have Trevor. And, that's the team we're on. We want what's best for him. We're right behind him every step of the way. But obviously we're prepared and to make sure whatever happens with that, we're ready to go. And then I think the next piece for me is just our staff. You want to make sure you have the best staff in place, and our coaching staff. We're going to get a chance to, you'll get a chance to hear from these guys in a little bit. But I really feel it's the best coaching staff you could have in college basketball. The different perspective, that Mike and that Jay bring, along with Emil and Chris, with the chemistry and cohesiveness that we've developed over this past year, and even more than that, is terrific. So really proud of the staff that we have. And I think the third piece that we have to navigate is not only is it a new era of Duke basketball, but it's really a new era of college basketball. And so we've been methodical. We've really had a chance to think about the different systems and processes that we go through and analyze, is this what's best for college basketball in this day and age? So we have great challenge ahead, but I think it's really exciting, and really proud to be up here with all of you. And I'm happy to answer any questions, and obviously get a chance to intro these guys and talk about them some as well.
Jon, how do you pursue with roster construction with Trevor if he comes back or doesn't come back? Do you have a plan in mind, like if he's not going to be another veteran, or do you just proceed as if he's not going to be here and you're going to try to get somebody else? How are you addressing that?
I think just like a lot of things in college basketball right now, you have to be flexible. And I don't think it's no matter what, there's no substitution for Trevor Keels. He's an incredibly special player, and to be honest with you, Steve, we haven't even talked to Trevor about that. Our thing with him has been, act like you're going, like go through it, attack it. You can't be half in. And look, we've constantly, our staff is evaluating what's out there in the portal, and it's important that you don't want to just bring anybody in. You want to bring somebody in that fits already the core pieces we have in place that can play a really good role. But it's not like there's a small margin of players where that can fit. So taking it day by day, evaluating it, but can't say right now that there's exactly what we're going to do. It's constantly changing and evolving. I think we know that. I think we finally know everybody that's in the portal. Who knows today? Dave Bradley might pop up and that he's in the portal later today. But there's, for the most part, I think it's set. So we know what we're working with.
John, let me ask you a follow-up to that. When you're recruiting a high school player, you have years to evaluate not just their basketball ability, but their ability to fit into the team's culture, the campus culture. Now you've got a couple of ways. How do you compress 2 years of evaluation into 2 weeks of evaluation?
Yeah, it's not easy, and I think that's really important. You know, I would use the process that we went through with Ryan Young. You know, it's obviously there's a natural connection there with watching Ryan for a long time and my relationship with Chris Collins and that all of us have with him. But understanding what Ryan is, who Ryan is about as a person, what he's looking to do, understanding what Duke is about as a school. He really checked all those boxes. Same thing with Kale. Playing for Tommy Amaker at Harvard for 4 years. Are you kidding me? So I think there's you have to do your research. You have to be really honest. I think that's one of the things with both of those guys. I'm just using those two as an example right now because they're committed and coming to Duke. But just where you put everything on the table, because you're not afforded the time to get to know someone like you normally would throughout an entire recruiting process. So I think we've done a good job of it. And we'll have to continue to do a good job of it because we're not quite done. We want to make sure we evaluate everything that we can before our roster is set for this upcoming season.
John, you mentioned some of the changes with college athletics. Like, how different is the portal this year compared to where we were last year before name, image, and likeness was sort of allowed? And that element of things, like, how are you guys navigating that? What is the process that you're working through, not just in the portal, but in general with the guys here, establishing a system for that?
Yeah, no, it's incredibly important, and I think overall it's a great thing. I think we found that there's not necessarily guidelines or rules where you have to operate within, but for our guys, I think it's great for NIL to have the opportunity. They've earned the right and the opportunity to profit off of their name, image, and likeness. I mean, that's why it's there. I think that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, Brendan, of being really diligent, thoughtful about the next steps that we take. And it's not something in this time I'm can say exactly what that looks like. But the portal is definitely different from last year. There's been different conversations. There's been opportunities and things we're not willing to do. But obviously we want to make sure we handle everything in the best way possible in this day and age in college basketball, which I think we're in a good position to move forward with.
Along those lines, with the Alston compensation that's available now, it's separate from the NIL.
Right.
Is that coming up a lot in conversations now? Are people asking about that? Because some schools have, some schools don't. It's kind of going through a process here of adjustments.
They are. No, it's a lot of different things come up. And, I think the main thing, Steve, is just to make sure we're up to date. And when I tell you the last month, the amount of change in college basketball compared to the last couple of years, I think it's dramatic. So the most important thing, to be informed, to be knowledgeable about what's happening. And because it's, Brendan asked the question, but it's changed dramatically. So there's been a lot of different conversations that 5 years ago we weren't having, but I think it's going to be a great thing. It's just a matter of making sure we have the structure in place to put our guys in the best position possible.
John, did you have a moment after the Final Four where you were like, okay, this is now my job?
Right now, no. It's yeah, I did. I think there's just an extra layer of responsibility that you feel, and for me, it's overall it's exciting, but it's also it's getting everything structured the right way. I mentioned our coaching staff, but we have our entire infrastructure coming back, and I think there's I'm lucky that we have that. Like, we already have that in place. I guess the problem is that we have to reshape it where in this day of college basketball we're in the best position to move forward. So I think you're juggling that. But for me, I felt pretty quickly like, all right, the next game, you're going to be coaching, so you better be ready. And for me, I'm lucky to surround myself with the infrastructure, but also the coaches. That's a big deal, the staff that we have in place to tackle this.
John, you were just talking about infrastructure. Is that something you immediately change things right away, or is it going to be more of maybe an evolution between now and the coming months, since everything is changing so much in college basketball? Are you leaving it as is, or how much are you changing that infrastructure?
I think it's silly to say we need to change everything right away. I mean, there's obviously a lot of great things that we're doing. Like I said, the fact that we're It's adjusting to our program without Coach K being the head coach, and then with the change in college basketball, the structure that we've had, probably you do need to adapt. You still need to adjust, but we want to be thoughtful about it. I mean, there's everything we're doing is we're being patient. We're analyzing what makes sense, and we weren't. I was never going to come out of the gates, where we're just firing off changes left and right. I think we want to really make sure we're handling things the right way, and careful about the decisions we make in terms of any changes.
John, one change you made, though, Coach Lucas is the first assistant
Yeah.
in a long, long time who doesn't have a Duke background. Is bringing a fresh perspective part of what made him an appealing hire for you?
Yeah, it's 100%. As I had my conversations with Jay, he's, first of all, to his experience at 33 that he's had in the game of basketball and as a coach, I mean, it's incredible what he's done. High-level schools at Texas, Kentucky. He's been ops. He's been, assistant coach. He's worked on offense. He's worked on defense. He's been a great recruiter. I mean, he's checks all the boxes. And really for us, we have the luxury, I'm very fortunate to have Chris and Emil, who, I coached Emil for 4 years. We've been really close, and the fact he's been with me this past year. Chris, obviously, me and him have amazing history together. They know me. Mike, the same thing. But getting a different perspective, I think, is really important. There's other people. Other people do great things too. And so for Jay, just that adds an incredible amount of value. And it's the same thing with Mike. I mean, he's been any job you could possibly be in college basketball, he's done it. He has the institutional knowledge of being at Duke. He's been ops, been video, academics, assistant coach at Pac-12, Big East, Big Ten, and most recently head coach. So I think those perspectives are just incredibly, it's great value in all of that.
John, how long have you known Jay? What's your background with him?
Well, Jay, make sure you ask him this, but we actually played each other in high school, and my team won, by the way. So Jay's back there, right? Jay, you're quiet back there. That's right? But so I've known and had just great mutual respect with Jay for a long time, and naturally you're seeing him on the road, and but gotten to know him definitely on a deeper level recently, and the more that I got to know him, the more I came away impressed with not just what a great coach he is, but who he is and what he stands for as a person.
John, I was reading something, an official said that Wichita State, 8 of their players are transferring. He said we just can't afford the NIL opportunities that some of the bigger schools have. What advantage does Duke have in offering NIL opportunities?
Well, first of all, I'm really proud of, you talk about player retention. I'm really proud of what's happened in the offseason. Our guys who have gone pro are all in amazing positions to be drafted in a great spot. You think about Paulo, Mark, Wendell, AJ, and like I mentioned, Trevor. So, and then you think about Jeremy, Jalen, Joey, all coming back. That means a lot to us. Like we want still the development of our guys as players, but also as people while they're here. That's part of the reason you come to Duke. And the biggest thing, there's no bigger stage than Duke basketball, and there just isn't. And so, for our incoming freshmen that are, on their way here in a month or 6 weeks, the opportunity to do it on this stage, you can't simulate that. And now we do need to continue to push, put our players in a position to profit off of that and where they can earn what their value is. But that stage there's no simulation for it.
John, to ask you about Emil, you got to fill in a couple of times
Yeah.
last year when Chris was out, et cetera. What did you see from him in those moments that made you feel that he was a guy you wanted
Yeah.
to bench? Like, what is the best attribute that he adds to the staff?
Yeah, he's you don't get the combination of his playing experience, right, where he was an incredible player in college, played in the NBA, played overseas, played in the G League. He's really done it all. And at his age, with the feel of the game, like he's got, even when he played for us, he could have taken more charges probably, and I could go on and on about some of the things as a coach, but he's his feel, and then at 28 to be able to teach the game the way that he's an incredible teacher, and you don't get that. And I think there's a natural respect level when Emil's out on the floor, and anything he's asking you to do, he can do it just as well, if not better. There's an instant credibility that he has with our players. But I think for me, the biggest thing that stood out is his teaching, and the fact that Chris went through, he had some, he had a knee operation this year, which allowed him to be on the floor. You got to see it firsthand, and so for me, it was a no-brainer. I mean, absolute no-brainer. And he's a rising star in this business. He really is.
What were the conversations like with Jeremy in the offseason when he was trying to figure out what to do? And what kind of role do you see for him next year that might be different from what he played last?
Yeah, the conversations with Jeremy, one, it was a reflection on this past year, what he did in the tournament. I mean, he was a key guy for us. And you think back to that Michigan State game and those key moments, and Texas Tech, and really throughout, he had that stretch middle of the year where he was, averaging about 8-9 assists a game. Tyus Jones has, had the best assist to turnover, ratio ever in, NBA history. But Jeremy, for that stretch, he had that as well. And so I think the main conversations that we talked about was how do you take the next step? Really, I don't think there's going to be a better point guard in the country than Jeremy Roach. He's, has the experience. He's gone through the ups and downs. He'll have the leadership. But there's just a couple steps he needs to take with his game. And, I'm excited to take that journey with him. I've known Jeremy, since watching him as a sophomore in high school. And, he's had the injury in high school, and we've been through a lot together already. And, I think he's poised for just a big-time year as a junior, being our point guard and leading this team.
John, if I could ask you a question about this staff that you put together. This is your first staff with Duke as the head coach. What attributes off the court did they have collectively that gave you the confidence that you'll have the chemistry you need, to continue the success that's been established here?
Yeah, I mean, I think with all those guys, all four of them, one, they're team players. They're about Duke winning, and I think a lot of times you can get with staffs where they're prideful. I mean, all of us are prideful, but it's about Duke winning, and they're great people. They're and close friends of mine. I mean, they're just good people, and I think that's the first thing. When I was making the decision to choose where I wanted to play as a high school recruit, that's what my mom and dad cared about. Is my son going to be surrounded by good men, by good people? And I can say with complete certainty, with any one of those guys, I would trust my son with. That's, I think, a great reflection on who they are. And then just their feel for the game. High-level staff, they really have had different experiences, and the basketball piece takes care of itself. For me, it starts with all of them, who they are as people. So I feel very fortunate and grateful to have put together this staff and for us to work together to take this next step.
John, forgive the obvious, but you walked in and I was looking for somebody else. I'm curious, how do you anticipate your relationship with Mike changing, and will it be like a Tuesdays with Maury type? Have him on the calendar, or how do you anticipate?
No, it's our relationship. We're never going to need a calendar. It's been, honestly, it's been pretty natural. It's not like it's anything is, you flip a switch and all of a sudden something's different. It's happened so organically and natural. The fact that this plan was put in place 11 months ago. We've been working towards this. We have to continue to work towards it, but he's gonna be someone I still go to at different times, and we have a relationship. We care about one another, and so ask him how his dog is doing, and he's I feel bad he's been, working hard with the dog, and that's. But hopefully, it's gonna. Anyway, that's different. That's for another time. But no, it's been great, and will continue to be great.
You guys feel,
Sorry.
I wanted to ask you about your relationship with Coach Mike Schreiber and
Yeah.
just kind of bringing him back and how his new position that's been created for him helps you grow as a head coach.
Yeah, he's incredible. And I first met Mike when I was a recruit, and then got to spend 2 years with him when I was a player here. And he was ops, and at that time he had a different perspective just on our program. He was that guy. Back then, if you made a mistake during the game, Coach K would let you know, Wojo would let you know right after that, Johnny would let you know right after, and then Chris would let you know. And Stragi was the guy after the game, could put his arm around you and just had different kinds of conversations. And there's just such a trust level. And we've been in touch throughout all these years, and see him on the road when he's at Stanford or Butler or Ohio State. And he's really been through it all. There's nothing he hasn't been through, from his time at Duke to all those places I just mentioned. So his wisdom, his experience, his connections and relationships, and then the fact that anything on the basketball court he's done. He's ran practices, he's offensive strategy, defensive strategy. So his experience is incredibly important for us as we move forward. And I think he's a guy already that he gets along with others. He's fit right in. It doesn't feel like he's new. It just feels like he's back home and right where we left off.
Someone has to be the bad cop. I don't feel like you have the bad cop in you, so which one of these guys?
One of the things that I don't need to say what I am or what I'm not. I think over time, it's important that you're just direct and honest with your players. So whether that's bad cop, good cop, that's being honest, and all of us are going to do that. So that's for you guys can determine who's the bad cop, good cop, all that. I think for all of us as a staff, those are the relationships we're going to have with our players.
Speaking of the players, when will you have these guys on campus, be able to work with them, and what are you going to put the emphasis on at first?
Yeah, well, we get them here end of June, and the first thing is to get to know them on a deeper level. Every day, get a chance to work with them on the floor, and we followed these guys for a long time, but it's a different level when you're with them on a daily basis. And then the second piece is for them to get to know each other. And so, we have to, we have a lot of time, and also you don't have a lot of time in a lot of respects. And so this summer is going to be incredibly important just to learn, for Jeremy and Derek to be on the floor together and what that looks like. And so anxious to get started and get them here. But obviously we don't want to skip steps in the process. I think it starts with really us getting the roster, getting everyone here, and then evaluating what it all looks like together.
Will you be able to do a similar process to last summer? It sounds like they're getting here late June instead of earlier June, so.
Yeah.
That's April, right?
It's a little bit similar. They're still coming early, and we're going to do their medical assessments and biomechanical assessments. We're ready to go by the start of summer school, which is June 27th. And so for us, that's really the start date of we're off and running, but we do want to get them here early just to get them adjusted and get a chance to do all their medical tests.
And then
Would you take an
indoctrination
international
process,
trip?
that
Sorry.
indoctrination process, like learning about the program and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. We actually talked about it in our staff meeting today. We have a program we're putting together where it's important to learn, the history of our program. It's important to learn and make sure there's an education beyond just basketball and beyond the classroom as well. So that's a program we're putting together. We're excited to share more detail in time.
John, can five-star freshmen win a national championship in this day and age? It seems like the best teams have 2 junior starters, 3 fifth-year seniors, one of which transferred from Kent State. It seems like those teams go farthest in the NCAA tournament. Can young kids win the championship?
Yeah, I think it's it's interesting when the narrative is out there where it has to be a certain way, or a roster has to be built a certain way to win. And to me, I think, look, is there value in having experience where Jeremy Roach is coming back as a junior? Absolutely. Is there? Do you want to say you can't win with freshmen? I just think that's not true. One, we've done it before, and then two, you look at this past year, we're a play away from playing a national championship. We're right there, and we had three freshmen that were in that key group. So I think what's more important is you have the right makeup and balance in a roster where the pieces fit. The guys that you recruit, they come in wanting to win and buying into what we're doing. And I feel very confident that the group we've put together so far fits that. And so, again, like I said, we have some work to do still. But that to me and our staff is way more important than, the certain age of, program or you have to have all juniors and seniors. I don't believe in that. And I think history, if you look at the past few years, we've been right there a few times. We just need to get over that hump.
John, since your assistants are here too, who has the best sense of humor on the staff?
They all think they do, but, Chris Carrawell, definitely, he laughs the hardest. So I would say maybe it's Chris. Yeah.
It's been 4 years now. You could take an international tour if you wanted to. Is that something you're looking into potentially doing when postseason starts?
Not this year. Yeah, not this year. But at some point, we'll do it.
Playing off that, a lot of times your players are able to go places, playing events during the summer. Is anything planned with the guys that you know of, or are you just trying to keep them together here?
No, we're going to plan some things, but nothing in place yet. There's, that's part of the process and, evaluating the summer still that we're working through. But I think that's important to have different experiences where they get a chance to get to know one another and bond off the court. I think that's, we have to do it in a short period of time, but we're absolutely going to do that.
Following up on the process, were you already doing things this year like exit interviews, helping guys with the NBA on the current team, or was Krzyzewski still kind of handling that?
No, Coach, Coach K wanted to make sure that, that was part of the team that he's put together and coaching these guys. And so, we worked as a staff with it. Coach had exit meetings with all of them, made sure they were in good hands. Who are they being represented by? What are the next steps? How can we help you? And I'm sure through the process, we're going to work together because, Coach will get calls down the stretch. I'm sure all of us, we've had teams visiting us the past few days of asking every one of us questions about our players. So that's something that Coach has been hands-on with, though.
John, you kind of alluded to NIL earlier, but is there a university program written policy of what Duke will and will not do? Is that still evolving? Is that still working progress? Can you just kind of get in the weeds a little bit on that?
Yeah, it's evolving every day. It's what I think all of us thought NIL was a year ago compared to now, and it's something that when I tell you I'm learning something new every day, it's true. And the plan is it's evolving. I'll put it that way. And to say exactly where it's at today and it's not going to change, I think that's probably silly because just in the last month the landscape in college basketball has changed.
Is
One
there
or
a
two
point
more.
person?
John.
Yeah.
Is there a point person for Duke Athletics that everything goes through with NIL?
We're still getting that process in place. Yeah, we're still putting it all together.
You mentioned being a play away. Have you processed the ending and the team down the street, which I don't know what your policy will be? Will you talk about them? Is that a word you're allowed to say?
No, I'm always going to talk about us. They have a great program, and there's a lot of other great programs out there. But of course, I think it's important to reflect and think about, just like any season, regardless if I was the head coach or not. What did we do well? What did I do well? What could I have done better? Obviously, as a team, you analyze how did you play, and I think the one of the biggest takeaways is just the margin of error is so slim in the tournament. You look at all of our games and playing Michigan State, it's a player or two. Texas Tech, it's a player or two. I think the Arkansas game, it was close, but I think we were in pretty good control throughout. And and then obviously the Carolina game was back and forth. And so the attention to detail you have to have as a team, I think we had that. And end of the day, you want to be in those moments. I mean, you're playing in a Final Four, you're right there, and it's just going to drive us even more to build and be back to have that opportunity again.
All right, Jon, thank you.
Thank you.